Not sure if you can hear the corny music, but good morning, good morning, good morning. Uh, I'll work on my introduction of the videos from now on. Heard in the algorithm of YouTube, the first few seconds of the video is the most important. So we'll work on that. Okay, let's get right into it. All right, we on podcast number 7, I believe, number 7. And this is going to be a series of videos. I'm not sure how many videos it's going to be. It's going to be a lot though. It's going to be at least 6 videos altogether on this movie called The Changeling. This movie is a movie of that's broadcasting what they are actually doing to our women. There again, like I said, I speak on my culture, I speak on Black women, but I believe that this shows what the feminist movement is all about. I've seen a lot of people react on this video. This video is, this movie is around, it's around 6 months old. It's a little older. Um, I didn't do the movie. I didn't choose this movie because, uh, you know, it was popular and I know that it would get into the search links. I should have, because at this point in time, I definitely need viewers. I need subscribers. So please, please subscribe, please share, please like the video. It'll help these videos to get out to a lot of people. Um, I think I chose this movie because when I watched it, I saw there's always an underlying theme in these movies, because what we're about to talk about today is witchcraft. Witchcraft uh, works on the subconscious mind. It works on the part of the mind that is active and you are not in action. Did I say that right? I mean, you are not actively part of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind works on your sympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system and the part of your brain that actually uh, makes your heart beat, keeps you breathing, makes your eyes blink, things of that nature, things that are unconscious. And it is the most important part of the brain's function, especially when it comes to thinking. So they're able to actually implant thoughts into the mind of the target or victim, whatever you want to call them, and influence the way a person thinks, the and influence what in turn what they do. Um, I used to wonder why Black people smoke Newports and white people smoke Marlboros. These are the type of things that come into my mind. Like I said, in the last podcast, I definitely have OCD. And I said, I was proud of that. I was proud to have OCD. I think OCD is basically has become a superpower for me, because what happens is it makes my mind loop and loop and loop um things over and over. So I'm intact. I'm attached to my subconscious mind. My subconscious mind comes out with my OCD. Um, and it comes from feeling a feeling of danger and me trying to basically map my surroundings so that I can get safe. So that being said, I used to think about these things. I wondered why Black people dressed a certain way and white people dressed a certain way. I wondered why I lived in certain areas and other people, Spanish people, I used to ride around and see the different neighborhoods and wonder, how did these things happen? What happened? What got things this way? And the thing, when you ask yourself a question over and over, and I tell my children this is something I learned growing. The most important part of intelligence is the questions that you ask, not the questions that you ask other people. Those are important also. Those are important, but not the most important. It's the questions you ask yourself. You put your mind into uh hyperdrive when you ask yourself a question. And these questions I used to ask myself. I said, why did black people smoke Newports, white people smoke Marlboros? And I come to the conclusion that these advertisements and things of that nature, they affect your subconscious. And I wanted to understand how this happened. And this is when I started to stumble on uh, witchcraft and what witchcraft was. Let me get my notes here. What witchcraft was uh, and how it actually affects you. Witchcraft, let me see here. The definition for witchcraft is magic or sorcery, a magical or irresistible influence, attraction, or charm. Uh, that is the official Wikipedia definition of witchcraft. I think that it gets a little bit deeper than that, but it's a lot more simplified. Let's deal with the words that they use. They use magic, they use sorcery, they used irresistible influence, attraction, and charm. They also use the word magic, magical. So they used a bunch of words or definitions to describe what I believe to be control. I'm going to do a podcast on narcissism after this podcast. I think that's going to be the next one. And I also have one coming up on heliocentrism. And we're going to be getting into that. Got a lot of good podcasts coming up. But this one is on witchcraft in this movie called The Changeling. Now, sorcery. Sorcery is the use of supernatural powers over others through the assistance of spirits. Witchcraft powers used in witchcraft. Sorcery is the powers used in witchcraft, and they come from spirits. This is what this says. They come from spiritual assistance. Now, so that get back to these people that call themselves Wicca. They say they have good and bad witchcraft, white and black witchcraft. Um, there's no such thing as white and black witchcraft. It's all black magic because it all comes from Satan. It all comes from evil. It all comes from the intent to control. God gave us free will. Free will. That is a God-given right to everyone. Now, the trick with free will is you can choose evil. This is another thing I believe that the tree of good and the tree of knowledge and the tree of life was about in the Garden of Eden. There again, I'm going to go back to the checkerboard floors of masonry. As is above, so is below. This has to do with choice. Choice has to do with free will, which is the greatest gift that God has given us, because in that gift, we are able, or we can choose, put it that way. We're not able, but we can choose to be gods. Understand? Now, these things, this is what the serpent in the garden told Eve: "Ye shall not surely die, but ye shall be like God, knowing good and evil." Okay, so witchcraft is basically manipulation of that free will. We as children, I mean, we as human beings, I'm saying, starting off as children, look at how manipulative a child can be by nature. Uh, the child needs to be changed. Okay, starts crying in the crib. Our natural instinct of protection of that child kicks in, and we start to go through a form of OCD and trying to figure out what's wrong with that child. That explains my OCD. That's what happens. It's like a baby crying, and the irritant of the baby crying causes me to want to stop the baby crying in my mind. And let's get back to what I was saying. You go to the crib and you try to find out what's going on with the baby. Is the baby hungry? Is the baby need to be changed? Is the baby cold? What's wrong with the child? So we find out that the child is needs to have they pamper or their diaper changed. So we change the diaper and they calm down. We get them wrapped back up. We swaddle them back up. We get them nice and ready back for bed. And they calm down. Okay. The next time the baby is crying, they're crying. And first thing you think, because this is a brand new baby, this is your first time having a child in your house, this is the first time experiencing your own child in distress, or what you believe is distress. And you find out the baby is crying, you check the pamper. First thing you do is check the pamper, because that's what happened the first time. The baby's pamper is dry. Wow. Okay. So what's wrong with the baby? We start going through this whole checklist of things. What's going on? What's going on? Now with me, I used to just change my baby's clothes. Maybe they're uncomfortable in their clothes. Because I would be that way sometimes. Well, my clothes would bother me when I was sleeping, so they would either I would start sweating or I would be a little bit cold. So I would change my child's clothes. Sometimes that would work, sometimes it wasn't. But then other times I would just get the baby and I would put the baby in my arms, and I would play with the baby or I would rock the baby, and then the child would stop crying. Third night, baby starts crying. Go through, check the diaper, diaper's dry. Pick the baby up, change the sheets. Well, maybe change the sheets, change the linen, change the baby's clothes. Try to get the baby back, try to get him warm, try to get him cool, whatever I gotta do. The baby's still crying. Now the baby wants to play with me. He's laughing and he's kicking his feet, he's putting his arms up. He's bored. He wants to play with me. You get the drift. This goes on for a week. This goes on for a month. The child learns to manipulate their parents, and they get better and better and better and better and better at this. And it becomes uh, push and pull. And if you're not smarter than your children, if you don't manipulate them with things, they will manipulate you. This is what your relationship with your children are about. This is witchcraft. I know that sounds a little bit overboard, and it is. And I'm going to tell you why it is. It is because the manipulation is not based in spirits. If you're if you're getting the uh if you're getting the help, or if you're doing rituals to get in contact with spirits to help you manipulate people, then it is witchcraft. All right, let's get back into the next word, uh, which they actually used in witchcraft. Witchcraft is magic or sorcery, a magical or irresistible influence, attraction, or charm. Sorcery, used in with supernatural powers over others through the assistance of spirits. It is the power of witchcraft. Let's get into the next word, which is magic. Magic is the art or practice of use of charms, spells, or rituals to attempt to produce a supernatural effect or control events in nature. I think that these three things are what explain what a witch is. All three of these definitions come together and they explain exactly what a witch is. You have to do magic and apply sorcery to produce witchcraft. Now, that gets me back into what this movie is about. The movie is named The Changeling, right? Now, let me go very quickly, find out what the definition of changeling is. Changeling, a child secretly exchanged for another, a changeable, fickle person. Okay, fickle, fickle. What does that word mean? Fickle, in my definition, is weird or different. A person or deficient intelligence. A person of deficient intelligence. This is a changeling. Now, let me go back over the three words again. As a matter of fact, changeling. 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 A child secretly exchanged for another. A changeable, fickle person. A person of deficient intelligence. Now, I got to look this word up, deficient. I'm sorry. I got to look this word up, deficient, because I don't want to assume what these words mean. Deficient. 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 Deficient is an adjective, a word that explains what a person is. Lacking an essential quality or element. Deficient. The reason why I didn't remember what that word was because I say indeficient, which is a mispronunciation of the word. It's an inadequate amount or degree. Deficient. Okay. Inadequate and lacking of quality or elements. Wanting to make up completeness, wanting as regards to a requirement, no sufficient, inadequate, uh, defective, imperfect, incomplete, or lacking, deficient. Now, let's go back to changeling. This is by the Wikipedia. Okay. A person of deficient intelligence. Okay. So, and this is the name of this movie. So, this gives the framework of the movie. Now, who is the baby? In my opinion, the baby is the newborn woman. She is newborn because in this new society that we have, this is new age. This is a new age society. And on every step, every where we see our so-called leaders uh in the secular world, where we have movies, sports, and music, uh the women are witches. They are witches because they use witchcraft, which is influence or taking away a person's free will. They use sexuality to attach themselves to the spirits that assist and aid them. This is what pornography is. They use spirits to change you. Why do they want to change you? For they they want money. They want resources. I hate to say that, all prostitution is about uh money, because that's not the case. Prostitution is about resources. Why do you feel as though you need to get a nice car? Why do you feel you need to get nice shoes? Why do you feel like you need to get a new suit? Because you are trying to convey that you have resources. You have resources. And this is a programming of the dynamic of the relationship between a man and a woman. It's turned on its ear. So you have Beyonce, you have Nicki Minaj. We'll start with them two. Beyonce, I think everybody knows she's a witch. Uh, I think I forgot the name of the entity in which she connects to. When I do my next couple videos, I will have all this stuff ready. This morning I'm doing a video, and I'm doing it before I'm on my way going to work. It's like it's 4:30 now in the morning. I think I started this video, it says 23 minutes ago. So it was about 4 o'clock when I started this video, 4 a.m. Eastern time when I started this video. So, and I wanted to be more consistent with doing videos. So I needed to get this video started. So I'm saying that to say I'm not as prepared as I need to be. I'm fumbling with my notes a little bit, and I'm fumbling with everything a little bit. But that's because I'm just trying to be consistent. But in a nutshell, we were talking about Beyonce, and I think Beyonce is a Shun, I believe. She's a goddess. She is calling on spirits for the assistance to manipulate people. She's using sorcery. Okay. She's using magic. Rihanna, no, Umbrella. Umbrella, if you go back and look at that video, what does that video really mean? What is she saying? It's a birthing video. If she's if she was pregnant, It's black and white. It's a good girl gone bad, right? It She becomes a changeling. She's having a child. Another thing that has to do with the changeling is a woman has to have a child. Now, this is Lakeith Stansfield. And look at his face. Look at his face. Who is that? That's us, black men. That's us. This is where they want our life to be. If you look like Lakeith Stansfield, they're winning. How is this happening? They're doing it through our women. When I was coming up in Generation X, I was on the heels of uh the new form of slavery, which was it was Jim Crow. And Jim Crow, in my with they with the slavery part, and the that was them taking control of our bodies. Jim Crow took control of our mind. Here we go back to this word, control. Uh they were using witchcraft, trauma mind trauma based mind control. This is what they were using to control us at that time. Trauma based mind control. And they used that on our bodies first, because the body actually, this is the source of our subconscious mind. The body will try to stay alive. This is the main component in this organic matter that we carry. We walk around with this, we're going to call it a skin bag, just to for you to have this picture in your mind of what this existence is about. And we have a skeletal structure that holds the skin bag on our bodies. Inside that, we have organs. These organs keep us alive. All of our organs are alive. They're entities within themselves. Then we have the control unit, which is the brain. The brain houses all of the intelligence for this thing that we call a body to work within the matrix of this holographic world that we live in. We're able to navigate this. So now you have the brain, you have the body, you have the skeletal structure, you have the skin. All of that is controlled by what? The mind. The brain and the mind are two different things. Two different things. The mind is spiritual. Now, I'm saying all of that to say this. This body that we have needs to stay alive in this matrix that we call the world. The mind needs to feel as though the body is being protected first before the mind can use the brain to think and navigate the way it wants. This is where we get back to free will. So everything has to be done as far as safety, as far as eating, as far as survival has to happen first. Once the mind understands that the body is safe and going to survive, then it begins to think. And then it begins to think clearly by the information that's given to it by the body, the skeletal structure, and the brain, and the organs. Okay. So trauma ends up being the underlying factor of subconscious thought. Okay, because you can't think of everything at the same time. You have to have duality in your thought. And everything in the universe works that way. Everything has a front and everything has a back. Everything has an opposite. This is the way this world works in this dimension. So you have a conscious and you have a subconscious, right? Now, in order to control your subconscious, I have to make your body feel as though it is not safe, because then you'll move to safety. It's called fight or flight. So the first slavery with the chains and the whips was about controlling the body, because when you control the body, the mind will follow. Okay, because you're going to be in fight or flight. So they, they did all of these things visually, they did all of these things physically, they did all these things mentally to us. They split up all our families, so we had no consciousness of our rituals. Our language was destroyed. We didn't know where we came from, and they killed all our elders so that we couldn't learn. They just left the children and they let them grow up within this system of control. Okay, now they supposedly freed the slaves, right? So what happened at that point when they freed the slaves? They freed the slaves, and slaves had nowhere to go. They had no money. They had no shoes. They had nothing. Oh, go. You're free to go. Leave. Now they have to rebuild everything with no resources. What was the alternative to that? There again, we're going back to fight or flight. No reason. No. Okay, we're gonna start here. We're gonna move to this point, and then at this point, and this point. No plan. Fight or flight. Where are you going to fly back to? See, there's no thought in this. You understand where I'm going with this? Now we're staying on topic of witchcraft. There's no thought in this. So what you do? You go back to the plantation. But this time you ask for a job. You beg to go back. You beg to go back because you got nothing else to do. Okay. Now you got a couple of slaves that's like, oh no, I'm going to come up out of this. We're gonna start our own, right? And they begin to do this because if I can do it for him, I can do it for me. You think they gave us an even playing field like they did the immigrants that came here on the ships from England and from France and from Portugal and from Ireland? You think they undergirded them with uh, a base where they could make money and where they could thrive and where they could live? This is another thing that slavery was about. Slavery is about giving the immigrants finance. So with free labor. So do you think they gave that to us? No, they didn't. What they did is they they went to the next step, which was Jim Crow. Jim Crow said that, we couldn't eat in the same bathroom. I mean, we couldn't eat in the same restaurants. We couldn't use the same bathroom, couldn't use the same drinking fountains. They had a thing that was called nigritude. I thought that it was a made up word. No, this is a real word. Negritude could be rubbed off onto a person. It could be caught like a cold. This is crazy, but this is written fact. This is part of the psychological uh the system that we have, which was built on the back of slavery. So was gynecology. So uh they would have negritude. So when you got into a pool, They thought that the black would actually rub off on you and get on them, same as the water fountain. Now, this was their level of ignorance. This was their level of ignorance. And because they were the rulers, they were able to write the rules. But what that did to us as black people is it created what we now call the nigger. They say nigger is a person that is ignorant. I I don't believe that. A nigger is a person, a black person, because the word is reserved to us. A black person that hates himself and everyone like him. That is what a nigger is. This the reason why we have this battle between a black woman and a black man. Is based in self-hatred. So I think I'm going to end this podcast here. This is going to be a short podcast. This is part one of an episode. Our next episode, we're going to get into how magic, sorcery, and witchcraft are in this movie. We're going to start getting into this movie. We're going to get into, I think, episodes 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get into next. But you guys have a great day. You guys have a great day. Today was February 20th, 2024. I'm feeling pretty good this morning. Going to listen to my own podcast on the way to work. Please use Tahuti, my Cash App, please. I'm going to definitely need more money so that I can quit this 9-to-5 job that I have so I can dedicate my life to this ministry that I have. I really believe that this is a ministry. I really believe that God has chosen me to do this podcast. Please like and like, share, and subscribe. I need the subscribers. I don't have any at this point. It's podcast number 7. Like I said, we're gonna see where I'm at by podcast number 500. And I'm gonna do my best to have a podcast at least daily. But you guys have a great day. Shalom.